Hello everyone, my name is Rob, guitarist here on YouTube and Instagram. Had a request come through the other day from a subscriber to make a beginner Thall tutorial. Before we get into that video, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe, comment as well, as it lets the algorithm gods know that you're happy to be here. As we progress on in this video, be warned, I am also still a beginner. I'm still learning everything that there is to know about it. So everything you've been seeing with my Elden Ring, Dark Souls, low tune stuff, it's as close as I've managed to get so far to being in that Thall bracket. You want to give any of these tips and tricks a try if you're doing it on a budget or you're doing it from home and you haven't got any idea where to start, then I'll show you what I've been doing to try and get the ball rolling for you. And then if you have any feedback or anything that you would like to suggest to somebody else who may be watching this, put it down in the comments so that everybody else can get involved. So I've managed to lose all of the footage from this process that I've been doing here. So I'm going to have to try and re-explain some of the areas that I was doing. Because as you can see in here, I went through the entire process, built up a riff, built up a drum beat, added in all the extras for full styled stuff, and I've completely lost that footage. My phone, which I'm recording on here, just completely died on me. So it was, by the time I'd got to that stage, it was 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was not about to re-record it all again. I'm going to have to adjust this on the go and try and talk through some of the process as to what I've done here to try and highlight the footage that I've lost. So with Thall, as a whole, I tend to treat the guitars as more of a percussive instrument for the most part, and then I build up the melodies in the ambience and all the background noises. So on here, what we've got is an absolute list of everything I've used. I've separated it out into different tracks as opposed to doing all the extra bits. There's a few extras or few areas I haven't done yet, which I can add in for this video. So it's not all lost in the sense of everything that was going on. So what I will do is I will show you a brief overview of what I got to, well, where I got to last night, so you can kind of have that as our starting point. So starting from now. So as you can hear, that's got most of the starting blocks that you would need to be able to write something that's very Thall inspired. There are some areas that I'm missing off of this completely, but there are quite a few areas that you can still use to build off of that. So I've quad tracked everything. I have my main one here, which is the guitar tracking. This is the one that I would do most of the writing on, and then do multiple takes on, and then separate it out as needed. So as you can see here, we've got 4 tracks, all panned left and right. I like to do the main track left and right 100%, and then anything that's choppy and more filling in the background noise for the EQ, I'll have it about 50%. For me, I find that that does fill out the mix a little bit more, but there's a few things in here that I'm going to go through to try and touch on more of my writing style and my approach. Everybody's got something a little bit different, but this is just personally what I do. So if I isolate the guitar tracks, and then we can go through settings so that you can go ahead and copy if you're using the same presets and everything like that. So this is what the main riff sounds like. I'll just do it as the left and right without the quad track. Just to give you a quick rough idea. With this, there are a few extra elements of Thall that get added in, I would say post processing. A lot of people like to use automation for this, and it's something that does get overly used. A lot of it's about creating the noise, creating the feel, from what I've learned, as opposed to trying to keep something that's, I would say, something that's easy to follow, easy to repeat. It doesn't necessarily follow the standard patterns of what metalcore might or what hardcore and stuff like that might follow. So, because I've already had to go over this again, what I'll quickly show you, these are the settings that I use. A little bit more into the middle. So this is the Buster Oderholm preset, which I've adjusted for the Spirit J400. The 27-inch baritone, which is in drop E. I use Ernie Ball baritone strings. I'll put it on the screen for you so you know exactly which pack I'm using. Apart from the strap modification, it's pretty much all stock. The Spira Villain pickups are the standard things that are in there. Drop E, so I've got, I think it was E, B, E, A, D, and then F. So I've tuned it so it's like a 7-string, just minus the 7th high string. So that way I can give myself enough options when it comes to doing all of the screeches and the weird dissonant chords, I guess you could say. So if you want to pause the screen, you can go ahead and copy these settings. This is what I use personally. With some of the layers, now this is the bit where everybody gets a little bit stuck. I also find myself getting stuck with this quite a bit. You want to keep the drums as simple as you can, and then only have the bass come in as, trying to think how to word it, as an event, I think is how Buster Oderholm said it. So you're not using it to play all the way through, you're using it to highlight the heavy parts of the main riff. Also in with the main riff as well, you can then add in your automated parts to get your screeches and glitches. So I can show you that shortly as well. Using clean guitars to build ambiances and melodies, as well as using different synths, as you can see here, to build up different ambient layers. I've gone ahead here and built an Elden Ring backing track to help with the ambience. So if I solo it out, you can hear it. Nothing too over the top on that one. But one of the extra things I like to add in are synths as well. As you can see here, I've got Doom synth 1, 2, and 3. Now, the reason I say it's Doom is because it's based off of one of the Mick Gordon sounds from some of the Doom games. And obviously I have those in different styles and everything like that. So if I show you Doom Synth 3, Doom Synth 2, and that's Doom Synth 1. Clean guitars can also build tension and ambience. A lot of Thall stuff is about building that tension and building that atmosphere. It's almost like the cinematic brother to Gent in a way. It's kind of like a hybrid of Gent and deathcore, from what I'm aware of or what I've heard. Just something that's got to be somewhat creepy in the background. Again, just all about building up that tension, building up the atmosphere. Drums, always try and keep them as simple as you can. I always like to start in a 4/4 beat, and then just have the kick drum placed in weird places. But also have a case. I also have it where I have the kick drum follow the rhythm of the bass notes on the guitar. So this is what I built for this drum track. Just to give you a quick insight on that one. Now everything is currently set to 127. I've got to go back through and adjust all the velocities as well, which I can give you a quick reference on how I do that. One thing I like to do is I like to layer in another snare. I know you like to use the Get Good Drums Brutal kit, I believe it was the one that I used. If it wants to load. Or it can crash on me. Not a lot, but it's enough to make it pop a little bit more. I also like to use the same Get Good Drum kit and add it with a reverb. And then you combine that in with this. One of the main things everybody is after is the screechy, glitchy tones, which I will show you now. So this is what I prefer to do personally. If I solo out just the guitars on the right. Mute that out because that's distracting. Now, this is where I normally have a tendency of doing stuff a little bit different. A lot of people prefer automation. I have a tendency of building it on a completely separate track. For the main reason for me is that I like to do things in real time. I don't want to try and automate it because I try to keep that mindset of if I'm ever to play this live, can I play it live? And if the answer is no, then I don't want to play it. In this case, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using the digital version of the noise pedal by Rupture. The Rupture pedal. Our Groove Lab is who it's by. This is essentially the noise pedal by Alpha Wolf in a digital form. Now it's only available on PC. I've had loads of people saying about make it for Mac, but I'm not the person who made this, so I can't do that. As you can hear, that's quite a disgusting sound. And then I've also got a pitch shifted version, which is also very common with Thall, is to change your pitch. As you can hear. Now, one of the reasons why I like to layer it in with the main riff is because I like to add the two together to create another entire sound. So like here, for example, I'd like that to be the anything that can give you a weird sound, like so harmonics I like to do, anything above the 12th fret I sometimes like to do. Depending on what I'm playing and when I'm playing it, I'll add these extra few bits in. And then it's just quite literally a case of copying it over so it accents what you've already done. So I know that one's for that one, and this second portion of the riff is completely different. So, like for example, that ding sound, I'll probably want it to be. And I also want that Gojira straight. If it's sounding a bit messy at the moment, it does take a minute to adjust, but it does make sense eventually. You can kind of hear where it's going. Now you can take it one extra step further, which I have done many times. What I like to also sometimes do is take out that 50% layer on the areas where that is going to be sitting. Now, when you put it into a full mix, I promise it does make a bit of sense. But these are just little tips and tricks that I apply to what I'm doing that may be useful to you. Blake is someone on YouTube who does it very well. He explains it a lot better than what I do because I'm still very much new to Thall. So it may make some sense or it may make no sense at all. So as you can see, I've made a couple of mistakes in there. Just put those extra layers back in. As I say, I like to try and keep it as close to what I can physically play live with my equipment that I've got around me. And obviously, if it's something I can't play live, then I have a tendency of not wanting to play it or write it all together. So to summarize everything, this is the final bit I can do for this. So that will wrap it up for this beginner guide on how to Thall. It's not necessarily the most in-depth thing in the world, and I can appreciate that if it's not quite as in-depth as you may like it. A lot of it is a case of just making the sounds and building a soundscape. It might be the easiest way to describe it. I'm still learning it, as I've mentioned. So if you have any comments on what I could do or what somebody else could apply who may be watching the video, go ahead and let us know. Let us all know down below if you've got more experience with it, or give us another channel who might be worth watching. There's a few other people that I know of who are quite good at this. This is just the most basic run of the mill, get you out of the gates to start making some Thall tracks. But if you like this video, do go ahead and leave a like and comment down below. Also consider subscribing as well, as I do plan on doing more videos similar to this in the future, whether it's a case of sitting at the computer like this or just doing something else entirely. But if you have any suggestions, again, like I say, let me know down below, let other people know, and I shall see you in the next one.